Thank you so much, everybody. Good night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I love you.
Well, he just took my words away. So I feel the same as the audience. I'm here as a fan. I'm a fashion designer for Oscar de la Renta and Monse. But my favorite thing apart from clothes, fashion, is actually watching Korean shows. So when I was asked to moderate, I said yes right away. I'm equally excited as everyone in this room. So I'm going to introduce everyone. Soo Hugh, she's the show writer. I don't understand how you do your job, so I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Jin Ha, Solomon. Minha Kim. I'm not sure if we know who Lee Minho is. And Theresa Kang, executive producer. And Michael Ellenberg. So I've never moderated before, so I'm a little nervous. So I got to see a few episodes this weekend, but can we give some hint to the audience what the season 2 is about?
Well, season 2, as you guys have seen from our first episode, picks up 7 years after season 1, and we continue following these characters that we love. Sunja in the past storyline, and Solomon in our present day storyline. And we watch increasingly as our two timelines starts colliding and crashing. But most of all, we just watch a family grow up, which I think is beautiful.
There's also a real exciting addition to the storyline with the generation of Mozasu and Noah. They take much more of the focus in the latter half of the season, and I think it's such an important shift that we have in the storytelling to make the connective dots between Sunja's generation and Solomon's generation. That connective tissue is that next one, Mozasu and Noah's generation, that we get to see throughout this season.
Was it hard to produce and write the show that it's a non-linear timeline, so it's like two different time happening at the same time?
We just wanted to make our jobs harder, but I will say so much credit goes to, and there's so many people here who worked on the show, especially our editors and post department and our sound designers, because I really do feel like this story, so much of it is made in the edit room, putting it all together. You get all this great footage from the production, and then it's their brains that have to put it together and say, this is when we cut, this is when we don't cut. Otherwise, the show would not make any sense. It really wouldn't. So I give them so much credit for really creating poetry out of time.
So season 1 did really well. Were you guys nervous about season 2 since the reaction of the first one was so good?
Yes. It was such a, when you're working on anything, especially something that feels so personal and rich, we hope it's well received, and it was really encouraging to feel that wave of momentum and support and energy entering as we started shooting season 2 a year ago. And I think, yes, certainly nerves about that and the sense of responsibility, but for me, more than that, it felt so exciting to get to jump back to a character that we had already so heavily investigated and become so familiar with, because that's not an opportunity that I've ever actually had before this, or we rarely get as actors.
I
And
have
I
a
love that.
text from Jin. Before season 1 premiered, he had just watched all 8 episodes, and he texted me, Sue, who's gonna watch this show? I think my
So confident. Wait, that was it? That's all I said? Oh man. I was hopeful. I was just scared.
Season 1 was amazing. I remember I watched it in one sitting, and I went to bed at 5 a.m. and I saw my dog, and he was literally dying on the side. I'm like, okay, we can go to bed now. So season 2, I saw 4 episodes. It's really good. And as a designer, the way you guys filmed it, it's so beautiful. The lighting, the costume, the location. I thought I'm on season 4, and I'm not season 4, episode 4, and visually it is just so beautiful to look at. So congratulations on that.
Kudos to our directors and our cinematographers.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask Jin Ha some questions. So you play the role of Korean Wall Street guy really well. I actually forgot who you were in real life, because I've seen you in photos, but this weekend I was watching, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna Google because I can't remember who this. I'm like, oh my God, this is Jin Ha. So how was it for you to transform into a Wall Street guy?
How was it?
It's very convincing.
Oh, thank you very much. Is that a compliment? Evil is just so easily accessible for me. I'm kidding. Joking, no offense. Anybody out there in Wall Street. Couldn't do it without you. I think, actually, funnily enough, it does, in so many ways, Solomon feels very different from me. But at the same time, I feel like, if I may get a little nerdy, I feel like our Jungian shadow, which is the opposite of the persona that we present ourselves as, quite similar between us. The fears that we have, the insecurities that we have, whatever we're yearning or seeking for, in whether that's professionally or whether that's personally, the fulfillment, the sense of identity. What's going on? Oh, we got questions coming in. Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, it was people are getting candy. I want some. It was a really exciting challenge for me to feel like I had to find the other sides of the coin of myself to fully understand why Solomon behaves the way he does. And especially in season 2, I think there's a lot more of him playing with a tightrope walking the line of morality in his decisions, and I think that makes for a really exciting arc.
And did you get to pick your own outfits, or was there a stylist? Because I
For
know
the
you
show?
love fashion, yeah.
Oh, it's Kyunghwa, our fearless costume designer. She is, the gargantuan task of designing 2 entirely different timelines, and not only that, Solomon in New York. It's incredible the amount of work and research that has gone into her design, and it's incredible. I think it makes that's how I meet my character.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really well, the outfits, the costume was really well done. Also, this show has 3 languages, which I'm so impressed, and I actually thought maybe you were Japanese. Your Japanese was so good. And my friend Philip, who's in the audience, he told me you taught it yourself. Is that true?
Not quite. I don't speak Japanese yet. If we have a season 3, I will be frantically trying to become fluent. But it's to the credit of my dialect coach, Kang, who is Zainichi. And on top of that, she has, from her upbringing, both the Osaka dialect and the Tokyo dialects of Japanese, which my character straddles, and I think it's such an important part. Like, you know, when he switches from Japanese to Korean, when he switches to different dialects, signifies relationships or signifies power dynamics, sort of like in Shakespeare, like verse versus prose. There's a reason for the switches. But it was her. It was the dialect worked with her. The Korean, I have an American accent with my Korean. Solomon has a Japanese accent, so I used her Japanese accent in Korean to formulate that. And then she's also an actor as well, and we were able to have conversations about subtext, about emotionality behind lines. Yeah, it was incredible. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to do this.
I had no idea there's like a dialect coach.
Yeah, heavy. We got teams and teams of people.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. I'm gonna move to my notes are a little messy. I'm gonna ask Minha some questions. Speaking of dialects, your Korean dialect is so good in the show, and I thought maybe you were raised in Korea, but you were raised in New York?
No.
Or no, you were raised in Korea?
I was born and raised in Korea, and I had a dialect coach as well. So the part of the countryside where Sunja born and raised was they had a very strong dialect, and it was kind of like the dialect that comes from 100 years ago. So I had to, you know, I kind of watch a lot of documentaries who spoke dialect in that era. So yeah, besides that, I had a beautiful dialect coach. And actually, to be honest, when I was doing the, I forgot the name. No. ADR. Actually, Inji, who plays Yangjin, she came to the studio to teach me the rhythm of the dialect. So, yeah, that's how I work on it.
My mom's family is from that region, so I've heard it growing up, and I was like, wow, it's like really real. So I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
So season 1, you were like a teenager, and season 2, you're like fully grown, mother of 2, and you changed from a teenager to a grown-up woman so like smoothly, like it's almost like a 2 different actress. So I was quite questioning, like, did you train for that? How did you put your mindset so differently?
Thank you so much, because that was my biggest challenge when I preparing for the roles, because, you know, like you said, 7 years has passed, and I had to I just wanted to melt all those years into the characters, but at the same time, I just wanted to maintain the personalities that were shown in the first season. So the subtle change, but I just had to make her own history and her own stories in that 7 years. So yeah, what I was keep constantly doing. I had a Sunja diaries, so I had to write down. I was just making all the stories, like what has been changed, and how she raised 2 kids, and what were the relationship has changed with Kang, Yosef, and, you know, every family members, and how much she missed her hometown. So that was the elements that I wanted to work on while I was trying to melt those years. And speaking of the motherhood, I had to focus on motherhood as well. So, because I have never been married and I have no kids, so it was really hard to figure out how is it like to be the parents, right? But right after I was on set and I built a relationship with the kids, I think it's mostly for the woman or the man. They have their parenthood in the blood naturally. So I think it appears right after I saw the kids. And besides that, I asked a lot of things to my mom and my grandma and my dad as well, like, how did you raise me? And yeah, all those kind of things. So yeah, it was quite hard, but I'm very relieved that you got that point.
Because I saw season 2, and then this morning I thought maybe I should watch a little bit of season 1 just to remind myself, and I was actually like so shocked how much you changed. Yeah. In a good way.
Congratulations, you did great. Oh, yes.
So I'm gonna ask Lee Minho some questions. So, was it how to decide to do this show? Like, if I were in your shoes, I would be a little scared since you're filming with American crew. And what made you? Was it stressful or was it easy to decide?
저는 의외로 작품을 결정할 때 굉장히 좀 심플한 편인데요. 제가 그 빠친코 대본을 처음 마주했을 때 배우 이민호가 아닌 인간 이민호에게도 좀 새로운 에너지들이 필요한 시기였고, 그리고 또 앞으로의 10년을 좀 건강하게 더 사고하고 살아가기 위해서 뭔가 전환이 필요하다라고 느꼈던 시기에 빠친코의 대본을 만났었고, 그리고 감사하게도 이제 참여하게 되고, 그리고 여기 계신 분들과 아주 현장에서 깊게 소통하고 작업하면서 다행히도 굉장히 큰 전환점이 돼서 지금은 저한테 배우로서 커리어가 아닌 인간 이민호한테 빠친코라는 작품은 굉장히 중요한 작품이 되어버렸고요. 그리고 그 과정 속에서 어떻게 하면 그래도 제가 좀 더 나은 사람이 될 수 있을까, 그리고 조금 더 많은 이들에게 무언가를 줄 수 있는 사람이 될 수 있을까에 대한 고민을 꾸준히 했기 때문에 그래도 좀 건강한 방식으로 더 인간으로서 성장하고 있지 않나 그렇게 생각합니다.
So compared to I have so many questions.
So this might come as a surprise to you, but when I make a decision as to what work that I'm going to pick, I have a very simple process. And when I first met Pachinko's script, I was at a time in my life where I needed some new energy as a person, not as an actor, Lee Minho. And I wanted to have a very healthy life, and I want to think healthy for the next 10 years to come. So I needed some inflection point in my life. Thankfully, I was able to participate in this wonderful process, and I had a chance to work with these wonderful crew here, and I had opportunity to communicate with them, and it did become an inflection point for me, not career-wise, but as a person, Lee Minho. And in the process, I always thought about how I can become a better person, how I can share more and give more to people. And thanks to that thought process, I think I was able to grow as a person in a more healthier way.
I think he kind of already answered my second question, but so we know you're acting as like Prince Charming, like the hot guy in the show. But I mean, you're still the hot guy in the show, but it was a little different. Yeah. Yeah, he's still the hot guy in the show. Yes, I have to calm down the audience. But it was definitely like a different vibe. It was, I think, more as a more man, than like a Prince Charming character. And was it hard to play the different role, or was it exciting?
저한테 어떻게 보면 한수가 또 연기한 입장으로서는 가장 멋진 남자일 수도 있는 게요. 그 어떤 순간에서도 놓치지 않는 남자니까 굉장히 매력적이고 진정한 남자라고 생각을 합니다.
To me, as an actor, Han-soo is a very attractive and appealing and even the coolest guy because he has this charm and he pursues whatever he wants to the very end. So to me, he was a very attractive character to play.
I agree. Do you see your character as a villain or as a hero?
저희가 지금 시대의 관점에서 바라보면 굉장히 한수가 비도덕적이고 이해하기 힘든 어떤 결정을 하고 말을 하는 경우들이 있는데 저는 이제 연기하는 입장으로서는 사실 한수를 악인으로 생각해 봤던 적은 없는 것 같아요. 그는 그 시대 속에서 가장 합리적인 방식 그리고 가장 성공률이 높은 방식으로 생존을 하는 걸 택한 그런 삶을 선택한 사람이라고 생각을 했기 때문에 그는 그냥 오히려 자신의 욕망에 솔직하고 자신이 얻고자 하는 것을 위해 거침없이 달려나가는 그런 인물이라고 생각을 합니다.
From the perspective of the contemporary time, he might look like a person who is very immoral, or sometimes you might question his decisions or words. Why would say such a thing? Why would he make such a decision? But as an actor, I never thought of him as a villain. In the time that he was living in, he was just trying to find a way to survive in the most rational, most efficient way, in the most probable way for his success. And he was very truthful to his desires, and he just unstoppably pushed it through for that.
Yeah, and I also think
박수 치면 안 되긴 할 것 같아요. 지금 관점에서 보면 나쁜 놈은 나쁜 놈이긴
Well, I don't think you should really clap for it because from the current moral standards, he's not
물론 저는
really
이제
a
그
nice person.
시대적인 상황을 고려했을 때
But once again, if you're giving consideration to the time he was living in, then you can't really blame him. Disclaimer.
but it's kind of hard to hate Han-soo and Minho, so Theresa, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. I think maybe with Michael, since you guys produced it together, what attracted you to this project?
The book that it was based on, it was so beautifully written. And, you know, Sue and Michael and I all talked about this. There was an instant recognition of it felt like home. You don't have to be Korean. I think the story and then Sue's adaptation of it, you know, adaptation is a very challenging thing in and of itself to turn a novel into a piece of film for television. But it just felt very Korean and yet very human. And that's the first thing that struck out to me. I mean, for the first several months, whenever Sue and we would talk about it, we would always have tears in our eyes at some point in the conversation. And so it just felt instantly recognizable as a human story. And then the scale of it, Michael, you should talk about this too. After we fell in love with it, and we heard Sue's pitch for it, which we needed to set up at a TV network, we all thought, oh, this is never going to sell. This is never going to get done. But it was, I think
Theresa was the more mature person. I think Sue and I were actually in absolute denial of it, because I think if we understood that, we wouldn't have done it. Like, to us, it seemed like, this is a great idea, we should do this. And because Theresa was the agent there and more tough, I think had a toughened sense of the market, and we were naive enough to go along with it. And you were protective enough not to burst our bubble.
I represented both Michael as a producer and studio head and Sue as a screenwriter. And because I had given them the novel and introduced them to it, I felt this huge responsibility of, oh my God, what did I do? I just gave them something that's never gonna sell. But Sue, I remember we had one conversation. How do you bring a contemporary timeline into the story? And Sue figured out it's gonna be 2 timelines in each episode. And then that was, you know, the start of where we're at.
And it's not normal to have 3 languages in one show. How is that something like in your world? Is that something easy to do, or was it something hard to?
Yeah, I mean, when we in the in the past, if you were tackling something like this, the immediate conversation would be, all right, we should do it in English or not do it. And what felt exciting about the way television had changed, where audiences have changed both in America and abroad, is we don't have one set of subtitles, we have two in this show, as you all have seen, and we felt it was the right time to do it authentically, that the languages and the way, and Soo is a master producer of this, there's all the nuance that Jim was getting at between how people speak in English with one another, in the case of his timeline, the code switching between Japanese and Korean, and the various dialects within. And if you speak all those languages, it's incredible. But if you don't, there's an authenticity that you pick up regardless, and just felt really unique and exceptional. And then as an audience matter, we're here in New York City, right? Which is great. But the prospect of doing something that could speak uniquely to the Korean market in Korea, to Korean audiences, to Japanese audiences in Japan, Asian American, just American audiences writ large here, that just felt like a really unique and undeniable opportunity to us all.
I would also add that Soo and Michael, and myself included, our personal taste was a lot of international cinema. And growing up on Korean dramas for 20 years prior, it didn't feel that crazy to be in another language except to the people that you have to sell the project to. Because we knew that there was excellent cinema everywhere. So that, I think, also helped. Well, it should be a conversation. But you know, Soo figured out the subtitles of the yellow and the blue. That was a new, I think, a visual language that really helped. And you know, one of our actors who is in another Apple show, Monarch, and Shogun, I think all these great international language shows.
You can name her.
Oh, did I not say Anna
Emmy-nominated
Sawai?
Anna
Did I not say
Sawai.
Anna Sawai?
Anna Sawai, yeah, the star of Shogun, yeah.
Anna Sawai, who's such a talented actress and in a multitude of series right now that are hitting the globe. I feel like we're a little prescient. We're a little. I like to feel we're a little early. Yeah.
No, I hate when it's dubbed. It's very fake. Yeah.
You want to hear the actor's
You can watch
voice?
it dubbed.
So last question for the producers. Is there season 3?
We would love all of you to watch and support the show. Soo does have in mind a season 3, and so we are planning on it. But we'll know. We'll see.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Is there questions? The first one is to Mr. Lee Minho. What will stay with you from the character Ko Han-soo? Thanks, Waldina Minho.
그냥 저는 사실 이제 오디션을 볼 때부터 그 한수라는 인물한테 사실 공감이 많이 됐기 때문에 저도 어떻게 보면 어린 나이에 사회생활을 시작해서 많은 사람들과 얽혀서 지내고 또 여러 가지 감정들을 느끼면서 성장한 케이스이기 때문에 아무래도 그 고한수의 대사 중에 노아한테 했던 앞만 봐, 언제나 앞만 보는 거야 라는 대사가 오랫동안 저 스스로에게 맴돌 것 같습니다.
Since the time that I auditioned for the series, I was able to really click and relate to the character Han-soo because we have similarities. I also started working at a young age and started having my career, and I had relationship with many people. I was able to go through many different emotions. So the one line that I said to Noah in season 1, which is look forward, just look forward, that's the line that I will remember for a long time.
Second question is also for Lee Minho. How does it feel to play a character with so many flaws? From Nicole.
누구에게나 사실 저는 장점이 있고 단점이 있다라고 생각이 드는데 결국 어떠한 인간을 단정짓고 판단할 때 사실은 좋은 장점을 먼저 보려고 저는 생각하는 것 같습니다. 이게 대본을 보고 그 캐릭터를 결정할 때도 주요한데 결국 단점이라는 결핍이나 부족한 부분이 있어야 그걸 또 이제 극복할 수 있고 그게 또 더 극적으로 전환될 수 있는 여지가 있기 때문에 저는 단점이 있고 결핍이 있고 부족한 인간한테 좀 매력을 느끼는 편인 것 같습니다.
I personally think everybody has their strengths and weakness flaws. When I'm trying to judge a person or make a decision on whether that person is a good or bad, I'm trying really hard to look at their strong side first, good side first. So that goes for my decision as to which character I'm going to pick by looking at the scripts. So I personally believe these weaknesses or flaws in character, which also can mean deficiency, that is something the character has to overcome. And in the process of overcoming that hardship or that deficiency, that can create this very dramatic moment in drama. So I think that weakness or flaws and deficiency can be something good for character as well.
그리고 잘 생각해 보시면 여러분들이 그동안 좋아했던 저의 20대 작품들의 캐릭터도 다 큰 문제와 하자들이 있었던 캐릭터입니다. 그걸 잘 극복했기 때문에 멋있음으로 여러분들이 아마 기억하시는 게 아닐까.
And also, if you look back at the characters that I played during my 20s, they also have a lot of flaws and weaknesses that you can see that.
Can you share with us your personal flaw? Just one.
전 별로 큰 단점이 없긴 한데.
I don't have major
단점이
flaws.
없는 게 단점이라고 해야 될까요?
I think my flaw is I don't have any flaws, maybe.
I'm so sorry.
I think everyone agrees.
Okay, next question.
Next question. It's for Jin Ha. Which scene is the most challenging scene?
Oh, that's it?
And then they scribbles, yeah.
Oh boy. I would say there's so many different scenes that were difficult for different reasons, whether it was emotional demands in the scene. In the first episode you saw in the Pachinko parlor, after he explodes in the grocery store and he runs into Sunja again at the Pachinko parlor, and that scene, to try to understand where Solomon is and to try to understand what he's trying to communicate to his grandmother at that moment and why. I found that to be challenging, and in a beautiful way of trying to maintain the subtlety of it, because also we're having this conversation in a very public place, but maintain, in addition to the subtlety, the depth of the emotions and the messages that are trying to be conveyed in terms of him trying to shed himself, of pressures that he feels have been placed upon him by her and her generation and her experience. But then other scenes that were a lot more technically difficult, like also in the first episode, the pitch meeting that you see him at. It's not, not only do I not speak Japanese, but that's like business language Japanese. Like, that's like fourth year of college kind of Japanese. And so, though even like Yumi was like, these are hard words to say, and but that to me was beautifully, very cleverly shot, rising from behind my head, so we can do ADR afterwards. But yeah, those were the things that that I found challenging, but also, I mean, what the hardest job I've ever had, but so deeply fulfilling. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie.
So the next question is for Minha. What was the most unforgettable scene for you?
For the second season, or
You can choose.
unforgettable scenes.
So no spoilers,
Yeah,
right? We
right,
can't
right,
spoil
right.
anything, right? Because y'all, yeah.
You can go small. Sue, I would help her out.
Oh God, my brain just stopped. But then I have to talk about the scenes from the first seasons. But, I mean, it's been 4 years, and
Minha, I would love
She's had
to know.
2 kids since
Yeah.
then. It's been a lot. She's gone through a lot. Yeah.
You know, Isak's, I think it's okay for spoilers, you know, Isak's death, right? That scene is, I mean, that's a master class.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
okay, so Isak dies. Is that yeah? Isak dies in the next episode. So yeah. Be ready for it. It's devastating. I don't know. And okay, yeah. That scenes. Every time I read the scenes in the script, I just couldn't stop crying. So at that moment, at some moment, I just stopped reading it because I just didn't want to waste my emotions. Yeah, so I just wanted to pour all the energies on the set. So, but right after I saw the Sang and Steve's Isak's face, and I could see I'm losing him. I could just feel it. But so I remember talking with Leanne, and I just wanted to touch him so I can share my temperature to him to save just a little seconds. That was just my hope. And after I lost him, I just realized how much I appreciate him. And that's why I told Noah that you can't forget him. And for after Isak's death, she was trying to keep her promise, and on the set, like and you know what? I almost fell asleep after I finished the scene because I cried so hard, because they were changing the set, and I was kept like falling asleep. I was so tired. So I think
body doesn't know the difference.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, and that was how much I used my energy. So yeah, it was quite an unforgettable scene. So.
한수 입장으로서 이상 얘기 잘 들었습니다. 한수 입장에서 이상 얘기를 잘 들었습니다.
Well, for Hansu, from Hansu's perspective, that's a story about Isak, and I can relate to it.
So the last question I have, it's for everyone. Did you read the novel before the script? What do you think the difference between the novel and the film?
Yes, I read the novel before I read the script, but I considered revisiting the book as we were shooting season 1. But I realized, and in conversations with Soo as well, I think I wanted to, especially because I was tasked with Solomon, and part of his relationship and identity in the story is his distance from Sunja's life and her experiences growing up. So I think I wanted to maintain the memories that I had of the book, almost like they were memories that Solomon may have had of his grandmother's experiences that he heard about growing up, but didn't quite know the details or remembered certain things, but maybe misremembered others. And it was also because our script storyline for Solomon in season 1, because season 2 on, it's all original material now for 1989. But in season 1, there were a couple of small and kind of bigger differences that we had, relationships-wise or character-wise. So in that way, it was, I made the script my Bible.
It's such a gift to be able to work on a project that comes from something so incredible like the book. Yeah. And I think from day one, we've always said that we were going to honor the spirit of the book, and it was going to be very much the foundation for the show. But I think in the last 6 years that we've all worked on this show together as a family, what's been really incredible to see is taking that book spirit and I think giving such a light to it. I think the Sunja that Minha created, or the Salmon that you created, or the Hansu that Minho created, is in the book, but now we've also changed it, and that's beautiful as well. So it's been such an honor to be able to do this book.
I don't know how much time we have, but I have one question. So I read the book, and I was really looking forward to see who you guys would cast for Noah when he grows up, because he's supposed to look like Hansu. So I was like, oh, who's gonna be this young Minho coming up? But I didn't see it in the cast list.
He's coming.
He's coming, yes.
Really? Is it like a hidden character? Who is he?
We have 2 Noahs in the show, not to give spoilers, but Minho, when we were in Korea casting Noah, Minho came by and he read with our various options for Noah. And Minho said, don't worry, he doesn't have to look like me. Remember that? And he was like, don't worry, just pick the best actor. And so, I mean, he intimidated all of them, but I think we found the best one.
You're all in for a treat. They both Noahs do such an incredible job because they're the connection between the 2 generations that we've seen, and I think it's extraordinary. I mean, this cast, I can't speak for myself, but this cast is so damn good. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is crushing it.
I think I'm done with all my questions. Should we wrap it up?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank our beautiful and amazing panel. Thank our moderator. And don't forget to watch the new season.